Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Roundabout Theatre Company celebrates their 50th anniversary season with a new production of the Harold Pinter classic, Old Times, which will star Clive Owen, Eve Best, and Kelly Reilly. Under the direction of Douglas Hodge, it will open here at the American Airlines Theatre on October 6th, and we dropped by to meet the company during a break in rehearsal. First of all, welcome to the New York stage, and you're getting ready to make your Broadway debut. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Scared and excited. Both.
Those are the best kind of reactions to have for this, right?
Yeah, I think so. It would be a little unnerving if I wasn't scared, I suppose. But no, there's something, it's been a long time since I've done a play full stop, but it felt like this was the right one at the right time.
So how did this all come about for you?
I was just sent it. And I was asked if I wanted to do it. And, I've known Doug's work as an actor for many years. We're kind of the same generation. And I knew that he'd done an awful lot of work with Pinter. He'd done a lot of his plays. He knew the man intimately. And when I met him, he spoke with such clarity about the piece. And I felt he was as good as anyone to mine the world of Pinter.
Did you know this play well before you took it on?
No, I didn't know it at all. No, I knew some of his other plays much better. But I was very, very taken with it, yeah.
So what's it been like working on it so far? What an incredible cast. I mean, talk about the ladies you work with, and then your director.
It's really fantastic. And it's, it's a joy to be working on something where as an actor you're trying to live up to the writing. That's it. The job is, it's such a beautifully written piece with so many options every step of the way that you just want to do the play justice. And that's a privileged position to be in as an actor to have that kind of writing.
So, first of all, welcome to the New York theater community. Welcome to Broadway. How does it feel?
So excited. I can't even begin to tell you. There's a part of me that, it's sort of my 16-year-old self that is like, can you believe this is happening? Because it is such a dream to be able to come here and work. And it's such an honor. And it's to bring Pinter to Broadway as well, which obviously he's been here tons. But this I don't think this has been performed for nearly 20 years, I don't think.
44.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you did your research. 44, wow. Well, so it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. It is quite indeed a revival, yeah.
Did you know the play before you started this?
I think I had read it back in the day when I was a student or something, but I was more familiar with some of his other plays. Yeah. So when I was offered it, I obviously went back and was like, how did I miss this? How did I not realize it's such a massive play? And the more we're excavating it right now, the more we're delving in and figuring it out. We're only in our beginning of our second week of rehearsal, so we're in that sort of what is this? It's kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I mean this sort of archetypal kind of things he's dealing with. I mean, it's pure love, betrayal, and all these people just keeping a lid on it.
All those good stuff to act on stage.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
It feels very nice to see you again, I must say. It's like, it sort of feels like yesterday. It's really weird.
And working on this play, tell me what it means to you so far.
It's really amazing to be doing this. The last play that I did was Pinter. The last play I did here was Pinter, and it was called The Homecoming. And after The Homecoming, I went to London. He was still alive, and he really wanted to meet up and talk about it. And we had lunch, and it was about 6 months before he died. And almost the very first thing he said to me before we'd sat down was, "Do you know my play, Old Times? You have to play Anna." And then we had this lovely lunch, and then about 6 months later he died. And I always had this thought in my head that he talked about this play. And then when I got the call from Doug saying, "Would you like to play this part in this play?" I was like, okay, I will. I have to. Yeah.
And working with this company so far, second week of rehearsals?
Yeah, it's amazing. They're amazing. I mean, the Kelly and Clive are just wonderful, and Doug is a genius. And It's very intense, and it's only second week, but it already feels like we've been doing it for a year, because there are only three of us. We're all on stage all the time, and if mainly, one of us is always talking, and it's really, really intense. So we get to the end of the day, and we're all completely exhausted.
First of all, welcome back
Thank
to
you.
the New York stage. Busy man, Penny
know.
Dreadful.
Yeah. I'm just done a thing called Night Manager too with Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie, so that's great. They're all still to come out. And now this is my other hat, directing.
I am so happy you're doing this. You are a wonderful interpreter of Pinter. Tell me what it's like tackling old times.
Well, old times, I think the only play of Pinter's that I've never seen. So it was very, very attractive to me. I mean, obviously, I've worked with Pinter a lot. I worked with him for almost 10 years. And then I realized there was this, it hasn't been done here, I think, for 30 years. I think it's probably one of the best plays in the last 50 years to have been written. I mean, one of the best plays about all sorts of things. It's a piece of poetry. It's very, very sexy. And then I realized I could get this cast. So it just seemed the right play, right time,
Well, let's talk about this cast. Ideal.
Yes, yeah, perfect. I mean, I honestly can't think who you could have is better. And it's very rare if you're directing that you cast something, that you have a meeting and say, okay, well, what about Clive Owen, Kelly Reilly, and Eve Best? And then they all say yes. And then you think, oh, okay, so we'll do it with those then. So that's great. I mean, Eve, who's here, I know Harold, just before he died, went to her and said, listen, this is a part you must play. So, I've got this fantastic triangle of people.
And being back here for Roundabout for their 50th season.
Yeah, lovely. And I had such a wonderful time here at Roundabout. I mean, I already feel like I'm part of this family. And I think there's very few places in New York where you can really do a poetic, interesting, complex piece, and have a huge production values as a Broadway show. So it's a very intelligent piece of theatre, but it also has this sort of sexiness and a very glamorous cast. And the two things can come together at Roundabout, which is very exciting.
What can audiences expect from this production, your production of Old Times?
I think they'll see a little bit of their own lives, I think they don't need to be frightened of whether they understand it or not. It's like going to see a dance. And what you get out of it, is what you get out of it. It's about jealousy for your lover's past, really. So you have to just think about whoever you're in love with and who they've been with before and what the biggest threat to you is, and then out of that comes this drama. It's 80 minutes long, there's an hour and a half straight through. So yeah, it should be a pretty intense, wonderful evening. It's funny too.
Yeah.
Talk about working with this cast and your director, Douglas Hodge.
Well, Doug Hodge is he's basically, if I think about Pinter, the next person I think about is Doug, because he's been in most of his plays and he was a great friend of his. He's a sort of Pinter expert, and he has so many great anecdotes and stories about Pinter. It's sort of a little window into the man's mind and soul of who was. It was so uncompromising, and I've sort of been delving into the world of Pinter right now and reading all these sort of biographies and interviews with him, and it's such an authenticity to him. And then when you have someone like Clive and Emily come together, I mean, it was like it was so easy to say yes. It really, I didn't have to sleep on it. It was a yes. I'm in, please.
What can you tell us about the woman that you play?
Okay, so Kate is, she's actually probably the most complicated role I've ever had in my career. And there's probably a reason why Pinter didn't write young people, you know what I mean? Like he's really interested in people in their midlife, their sort of early 40s kind of, where you're starting to really wrestle with who you are. You have a past and you can see the end. You know what I mean? There's that sort of tension. And Kate is somebody who, she doesn't say very much. And when she does speak, there's 100 million decisions with every play you do and every character you do. But with Pinter, he doesn't give you anything. So it's all up for grabs. And we're in rehearsal right now where we are trying this, we're trying that, and we're discovering stuff. And you can only discover while you do it, while you're dropped into that sort of ocean of it. And so right now, she's a really interesting, she's like some sort of sea creature right now. In my head, she's just, you can't grab her. She's this evasive woman.
You're about to make your Broadway debut. You're in the theater, you walked by the marquee today. What went through your mind when you came into the theater today?
Well, it was funny. We'd been here on our first week and we just came to the theater to do some sort of voice work and familiarize ourselves with the space. But we were in the dressing rooms all getting made up and all the stuff, and then we just sort of saw the walkway to the stage, and we both, Clive and I both went, oh my God, I just got really nervous, because it's just like, you know, your half an hour call, like you can just, that moment on your first night, but it feels great because it feels so alive to feel nervous and excited, and there's something about me coming back after such a long time that I appreciate every moment of it, rather than that sort of like jaded, tired actor, you know.
In making your debut with Kelly, she said you were in the theater a few weeks ago to do like voiceover work or something, and you walked that walkway like that was going to lead you to the stage, and you were like, oh my God, they're going to be calling half hour like our first day. What was that day like for you being here in the theater?
It's the same thing. It's scary and it's exciting. You know, there's no question that it's been a while, but you know, it's a good place to be. I'm all for challenging yourself, and what's the worst that can happen? You know, the worst that can happen is I'm bad. I've been bad before. I'll be bad again.
You're going to be brilliant in this. What do you love about this role that you're getting ready to play, and the words?
It's beautifully written. It's incredibly visceral and muscular and very passionate in lots of ways. There is a sort of, you know, there's a sheen over Pinter's characters, you know, sometimes where they present themselves and they give very little away, but there's a river of emotions underneath, and it's the joy of playing that, really. It feels to me already what we've done, the work we've done, that you have to be very full up as an actor. You have to be brimming with the feeling before you even step on the stage, and that's when the play will really sing.
And what you're looking forward to the most with being back on stage?
Just the impact of this play, because I feel that we have the potential to do something pretty special, and you know, we're going to try very hard, and we've got a lot of good things going for us, and the exciting thing be if we pull it off, I think the play will make an impact.
Because I saw the original production with Rosemary Harris, so it's not been done here. I was like a teenager going to see that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go see a Pinter play. And I had the best time, so it was such a great time for this show to come back under the tutelage of Doug Hodge.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting, and there's a reason that Pinter is revered as much as he is. For someone who writes such strange, challenging pieces in a way, and very provocative pieces, but there's a reason that he's so well regarded. And when you start to really mind the play, it's so beautifully precise. There's such a precision in his writing and such an economy of writing. It's just a privilege as an actor to be working with that kind of language.